Come, Holy Spirit, please guide us, please teach us, please open our hearts, minds, spirits to the information you give us. So all of this sounds pretty fantastic. Reiki, energy, higher dimensions, angels. Is any of this actually real? You know, before I get started, I have to actually give you a disclaimer. If any of this is a reference to the Matrix, when he was being awoken, Morpheus asked the one being woken up, you know, okay, here's the red pill, here's the blue pill. The blue pill, you can take it, go back to sleep, pretend none of this happened. None of this is real. You can believe, wake up, believe anything you want to. You can take the red pill and find out the true nature of reality. But if you're here, it's too late for you. You've gotten too much information to go back to sleep. You know that there's something more than is advertised, we'll call it. This stuff is real. I've seen miracles. Stage 4 cancer on a regular basis, go away. They go back to the hospital and the doctor goes, it's gone. We don't know how it's gone. One of my last ones, 4% chance of living 4 years. She's going to die. It was terminal. There was no recovering from it. There was no curing it. There was nothing they could do. 4% chance of living 4 years. Once I resolved the root of what was causing that, the energetic cause of it, all the other treatments worked. She went back to the hospital, gone. Completely gone. They had no idea. Another one, uterine cancer, 30 days left to live. Gone. A week later, went back into the hospital, was gone. Things that should be impossible. Even enamel regrowing. One woman had sensitive teeth. She couldn't even walk outside without covering them up if it was cold out. I worked on her. She could taste minerals in her mouth when I was working on her. Her mouth went numb and she started giggling uncontrollably. During a healing session, you'll see some of the craziest things possible, and you can't go in and walk in and go, oh, this is going to be a normal average healing session. That just doesn't happen. Every day is different. Every day is something new. You walk in to a talk, to a healing, and you have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea what you're going to do. You're just waiting for guidance on what you should do. But I worked on her. Her mouth went numb. Her teeth went numb. She was tasting minerals. After they said, okay, that's enough, I gave her a glass of ice water. She drank it, no sensitivity left in her teeth. Cartilage regrowing. Cartilage completely gone in toe joints, knees. Completely regrew. Went back in to have the surgery, and they're like, we don't need to fix it. It regrew. So nothing is impossible, but you can't expect miracles. Miracles happen when they're supposed to happen. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but I have seen miracles. I have found places with just psychic information, temples in the jungle. I worked with, this is before I really knew I was, or understood how to use the information I was getting. I worked with healers that were intuitive and other psychics, and I found a lost city back in the jungle. So I stopped the taxi, I used dowsing and Google Maps, along with other psychic means to find this lost city. I used Google Maps and a pendulum, got the grid coordinate, put it in the GPS. I'm rolling down the street in a taxi, and I'm like, and here. The taxi driver goes, that's the jungle. I look up, I'm like, yes, that is the jungle. So I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm not going to back out. I'm here. I came, a quarter way around the world to discover this place, and I'm like, I'm not going to give up. Put my pack on, get all my gear, start going into the jungle, and I'm like, I'm going to die because I was stupid. I thought this psychic thing existed. What am I doing? What am I doing? I am going to die. Jaguars, pumas, poisonous snakes, poisonous bugs, I thought I was going to die. But a little ways further in, there they were. Temples, ruins, square 90-degree corners with steps in it. No possible way it was natural. And I'm like, it's real. It's real. I found it. Beautiful things, but there are also nasty things, low vibrational things I've seen. Evil isn't necessarily the best description for it. There's good, there's evil. That's not really exactly how it is. Those evil beings are actually low vibrational. Extremely, extremely low vibrational. And we'll circle back around to what that means. But they're sick, and they harm people and hurt people. And I've seen many demons and had to deal with many demons. So the good, the bad, the ugly, the crazy, it all exists, and it is real. I went out, a huge thunderstorm was coming from Kentucky up to Canada, and it was rolling a solid line of green, yellow, orange, red, every color of the rainbow was coming this way. I went out, and I asked the angels, the heavenly host, to help me break this up. And I still heard thunder rolling in. I'm like, okay. I was kind of down on myself. So I go back in. I'm looking at the radar. The storm starts to split. As it came over me, dry sky passed over me. No rain. The rain stopped. Thunder on either side. The rain stopped. It re-emerged behind me. But the storm did start to fizzle out. I was hoping to get a bigger result. But dry passed over me. I actually have the radar images from this happening. Just amazing. Today, I will be bringing you information from the heavenly host. And who do I mean by the heavenly host? Of course, God. However, source is a more accurate description, creation, the creator. God really can be any higher dimensional being. Any higher dimensional being can be referred to as a God. So God is kind of ambiguous. So if you hear me say source, the creator, I'm talking about God, the creator and creation all in one. But it's not limited to God, the angels. It really can be any good spirit. It can be plants. It can be animals. Anybody who's doing good, working with the heavenly host, can be considered part of it. So I am getting information as we go given to me from them. I have a lecture put together that they've helped me kind of mold. But if I get information, I'll go with it. Also, feel free to ask questions. If I'm in the middle of something, don't squirrel me. And by squirrel me, I mean it's hard to tune into exactly one energy I'm receiving. So if I start getting too many, I can get distracted. So all of a sudden you may hear me go, squirrel, and we'll go off that direction. But feel free to ask questions because they may be divinely guided and it may be information that the rest of the group needs to hear. Okay, how am I listening to God? How am I hearing God? It's not a booming voice talking to me right now. In fact, all of you probably experienced this without knowing it. But we'll circle back around to your own psychic abilities in just a little bit. The higher dimensional language, the highest dimensional language, is a thought, a feeling, an emotion. And it means so much. It's so concise, it takes 1,000 words in English to concisely describe it. Just one little thought, one little feeling. So once you learn to leave behind English, leave behind these third dimensional languages, and you think in that language, colors, pictures, energy, you're really just thinking in energy, and you can then tap in and understand the information you're being given. You could literally write a book in minutes, with a couple minutes of thought in that higher dimensional language. The problem comes in translating it into English. There's been many times I'm like, okay, and then all of a sudden I'm like, hang on a second, this doesn't translate into English. So it's about opening up and learning how to understand that. If you've ever seen anyone meditating, or in the movies, if you see someone that's high and all of a sudden, they're like, I know the secret of the universe. It's when they start to they bring their consciousness down to put it in third dimensional concepts, but it doesn't translate down some of this information. So when you start thinking in that, or you go up there, it expands the scope of concepts. You have a much bigger scope that you can think in. Some of what I say during today doesn't directly interpret into a third dimensional language. So if I'm making up words, saying things in funny ways, please bear with me. I try to put it in a way most anyone can understand. I may use a parable. I may use other things to try and explain the concept I'm trying to convey. Okay, to explain what's going on, there is 3 parts of us that make sense down here. There's more when you get up there. But we have a physical body. We have our mental body, our soul. That is our basically energetic identity. That is us. That is who we are. Then we also have our energetic body, our spirit. That is, if you've ever heard anyone say, I am God, if they're down here, they're not. They are part of God. Let me give you a demonstration of what a parable they gave me. Imagine the tapestry of creation on the wall. Your spirit is a thread in that tapestry of the creation. You are woven in. You are part of the Creator. You can access the information of the Creator. But you hear where your focus is right now in this dimension. It's not even that you aren't up there right now. It's that your focus is right here, right now. When you pull out that tapestry, your focus is here, that thread out of the tapestry. Are you creation in its entirety? No. So if you hear someone claiming to be God, you know that they don't have their information quite right. You should question what they say. Now, that being said, when our thread is in that tapestry, we are all part of creation. We are all part of God. Are you God in its entirety? Not yet. But you can be. You can merge your consciousness with Source. You can become part of Source. You can become part of the whole heavenly host. These things that are beautiful, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, Nikola Tesla, these ideas that are so revolutionary, so off the wall. Einstein, Einstein, Tesla, they were perceived as being stupid in school. But they had the ability to tap in and pull forth higher dimensional information and bring it back here. So everybody has that ability. It's just listening. And not everybody's going to be a professional baseball player. Not everybody's going to be a concert pianist. Everybody has a unique ability that is very special. Your ability is not any greater or lesser than anyone else's. It is exactly the ability you are supposed to have. And it will morph into the ability you will supposed to be having. So never feel bad because you can't do something someone else can do. The energetic side of things, our spirit, that is where energy comes in. That's where medical science has, up until now, they're starting to come forth. They're starting to realize this. But it was ignored. But now they're realizing some of these light, sound, healing energy, they all impact our spirit. Now, to achieve the highest potential we can, here we have to master all 3 parts of our body. Well, maybe not master, but we have to take care of all 3 parts of us. That is where, back in the 60s, they did what felt good. The original hippies. They definitely started a movement, got us moving in the right way. But What feels good is good for the spirit. But if you work just on the spirit, that's not going to work. You will start to come up, but you need to work on all three parts of yourself. You need to eat healthy, take care of yourself, be clean. Clean has energy. If you have stink and filth, it holds a certain energy. So you need to actually be physically clean, physically healthy in order for this vessel, this meat car we roll around in, to be able to do what it needs to do to work with our spirit and our soul. So say you're in a car accident, you get an injury, or that can actually cause an energetic blockage, which then can cause a mental blockage. So all of a sudden someone has unexplained anxiety, they have unexplained depression. Well, where is this coming from? It could be an energetic blockage. It works in any one of the three parts of us can affect the other parts. So if I yell at you and I hurt your feelings, shut down your heart chakra, your heart energy center, that can actually cause energy blockage, which then can cause, it causes a mental to the energetic, and then it can actually cause physical chest pain, a heartbreak. Have you ever heard anyone go through a breakup or lose someone and they say they're having chest pains? Well, that's exactly what happened. An energetic blockage happened, and then it caused physical pain. The other way around, too. If you're around an energy field, that's bad. Cell phones, cell phone towers, basically anything that puts off EM. That can negatively impact you, impact your energy, and then it can also affect your mental and physical bodies. So it can go either way, and we have to work on all three parts of ourselves. We have to be physically strong, not go lift weights at the gym, but in a good health condition. We have to work on our spirit. What feels good? So yes, what the hippies were talking about, what feels good? What's your favorite song? Listen to it. Doesn't it make you happy? Doesn't it make you feel something? Go out to nature. Look at the sun. Feel the sunlight, that energy coming through you. Feel the energy from the plants. Feel the energy from the lake. That is good for your spirit. Whatever feels good is good for your spirit. So you have to work on all three parts of yourself to become able to access higher parts of yourself. A lot of conditions unexplained. Anything to share?
I've had it heard on me, and I said, I love the hippie days.
No, it was fun. It was fun. We are now in a new era, though. I mean, it is. I mean, you just think about it, and besides the lack of hygiene or stuff, but I mean, it was a fun era. But now we're in a new, great era. We can still have that joy. We can still have that fun brought through. But now we can achieve greater heights because we know to work on all parts of ourself down here. We can then access higher parts to ourself. We can raise our vibration. Oftentimes, when I'm working with very chronic maladies or illnesses, there's an energetic cause or a mental cause, or actually even unexplained physical causes. But you need to look for what is actually causing it. It's not about treating the symptoms anymore. It's about looking for that cause. And when you're able to tap in, sometimes you get that information. You might have to clear off layers like an onion. So if the obvious problem is this, you deal with that, and then all of a sudden that. Then all of a sudden they open up, during a healing session, they open up about losing a parent or losing a child or something bad that happened to them, and you go, oh, that's where all this is coming from. Them holding on to that toxic energy, that's where all the other issues stem from. So once you can actually, an easy way, okay, they want me to talk about that right now. If you ever have a tragedy, if you ever have something that just you can't let go, take that energy, taste it. really understand what that energy feels like. As painful as it is, really delve inside and look for that. Experience that pain. Experience whatever that is. That feeling you have is the name of that energy. So you need to find everywhere it is. Imagine gathering it up and then release it. Give it back to the earth as a gift. The earth then recycles it into a higher vibrational energy that can be reused and be good for others. Words carry energy. So not only yourselves down here are getting this talk, but there's also energy up here that you consciously don't perceive. Well, some of you may. But for those that are not at that level yet, you are receiving the extra information up here that almost like a footnote that I'm not even addressing right now. There's more going on up there, and you are receiving that. These words carry more energy. These words are healing. Your words are healing. Your words carry energy. Be very careful about how you choose to convey things, because that carries forth an energy. If you do it out of anger, it carries the vibration of anger. If you do it out of love and healing, it carries forth that energy of love and healing. We will do an exercise right now. Okay, I want everyone to imagine themselves as a tree. You can continue to sit, but imagine from your feet, send down energetic roots into the earth.
Do you want us to stand?
No, you can continue to sit. Imagine yourself as a tree. Send down roots into the earth. You can even use breath to help you with this. When you draw breath in, you're drawing energy in. When you breathe out, you expel energy. You can eventually split that and be able to draw and push energy without that, but right now, breath is a very good visualization for that. So you take energy, you feel it down. Imagine your roots going deep down into the earth. You begin to bring up this warm energy. It's love energy from the earth. It could be called yin, qi, which is just energy in English. There's yin and yang energy. Yin is the feminine. It's dark in color. It's warm. It feels like a hug. All that is love energy. So you're drawing up love energy from the earth. You're pulling it up yourself. You might feel warmth coming up from the earth, coming up through you. Use that to build branches up into the higher dimensions, up into the heavens. Big branches, gathering all that light. Now you're drawing in yang energy, light energy. It's cool, crisp, refreshing. Have that light wash out any heavy energy you feel, any low vibrational energy you feel, any heavy weight on you. Wash that off. Continue to push that light energy down. Push it back down to your roots, into the earth. Give it back to the earth as a gift. The earth can then recycle that back into love energy and give it right back to you. Continue to pull love energy up through your roots. Continue to pull light energy down through your branches. Combine it in your heart. Continue to focus on your heart, opening it, expanding it, concentrating that energy into your heart. Your hands are an extension of your heart. Now imagine taking that pool of energy in your heart and pushing it out your hands. That's healing energy. That energy can heal anything that the heavenly host wills it to heal. Congratulations, you're all healers. Every one of you has that ability. No attunement needed. No help. Now, you can work with others to help you expand your abilities, expand your knowledge how to use that power. The angels are always there. You can ask them. And even if you can't hear their voice, they'll guide you. You'll just know. You'll just feel an urge to do something. You'll just feel guided to do something. And that's them helping you. When I first started healing, I didn't really know what information was coming in. I just felt guided to do things. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing now, but I'm going to do this. And it worked. That was the angels, that was the heavenly host guiding me, showing me what to do. So it might be a little bit unclear, it might be a little bit scary at first, but they're always with you, they're always around you. As with this exercise, you see everyone is a healer, everyone has that ability. Now, back to, is everyone a professional baseball player? Is everyone, a concert pianist? No. Everybody has their own abilities. And since you're here, probably you're drawn to the healing ability, the healing field. But which way do you go? There's different ways you can go, and you will find the best way that works with your energy. But everybody has that. Everybody has psychic abilities. I oftentimes see people and I know when they're, let's just say, more than human. They're special. I feel their energy glowing. I can spot them glowing across the room typically. Now I ask them if they're, haven't been through the process, haven't realized their abilities. I ask them, do you have psychic abilities? Almost always I get, oh no, I don't. I'm like, well, do you get a good gut feeling about things? And they go, oh yeah. I'm like, is it right all the time? They're like, yeah, it's extremely accurate. Well, guess what? You're clairsentient. That's psychic feeling. Another thing that goes along with that is, I say, if someone's sad, do you feel sad? They're like, yeah. If someone's in pain, do you feel their pain? Well, yeah, I feel that. I'm like, that's part of that, the psychic feeling. You're an empath. You can feel what others feel. So that's psychic abilities. Another way, do you get ideas that just pop in your head? You're beating your head against the wall, can't figure out a solution to the problem, and all of a sudden that idea just pops in your head. That's claircognizance, psychic knowing. And I had that my whole life. I just didn't realize it because it's hard to understand that it's not coming from you. Until you can finally figure out where it's coming from, you don't know how to fully utilize it. But it's right. You need to listen to what you're being told. Clairaudience, psychic hearing, that's a little bit, you have it or you don't. You can hear the angels, and oftentimes people that are referred to as crazy or they lock them up in mental institutions, they're like, the voices in my head, they're telling me to do things. Well, did anyone stop to think? They are hearing voices in their head, and they are not nice beings tormenting these people. They are demons. They need to get cleared of these demons, and then the problem will go away. They're very real, hearing voices. If you were blind, and I told you there's a world out there, I can't see it. What are you talking about? There's nothing out there, just what I can feel. The sky is blue. No, it's not. I can't see it, so it's not real. Well, it is. Also, if kids have an imaginary friend, and stop talking, stop imagining. They might be talking to an angel. And just because
really vouch for that one.
Yeah.
My grandson.
Oh, children are so beautiful because they don't know any better but than to be connected. Until society starts going, you're crazy. I can't hear it, so there's nothing there. No, that's one of the things I really try to do. If I see gifted children, I want to catch them before they get shut down. Because if they get shut down, it's such a hard process to erase that dogma, erase all that beaten in programming by society to be able to come back around 20 years later, 30 years later, and finally access those gifts that they had in the very beginning. So it's very important, if you ever see anyone, encourage them, foster them, and you will know if they're making it up, if they're pretending, or if they're really genuine. A lot of kids genuinely see angels. A lot of kids genuinely hear. My friend, Hank, his kid is so gifted. He had a random passcode generated on some gaming system. The kid walks up, dials it in. I think first try, I'm not completely sure about the story, but he dials it in. The first try unlocks it. The kid was just incredible how tuned in he. He is, and just some of the amazing information. And kids, they don't have enough programming or brainwashing not to say the truth. They don't know they're supposed to filter and pretend like the higher dimensions don't exist. They say things, and sometimes they're so profoundly true. Even the youngest of children, they can convey a message that anyone can learn from. And we need to hold that wonder of a child in our heart. It's very important not to suppress our inner child, not to give that up. Because through a child's eyes, the world is wonderful, the world is new, the world is exciting. When we get rid of that child, it gets boring. We get beat down, we get tired. We forget how wonderful things can be. But through a child's eyes, feeling that inner child, that wonder, you go out, it's a beautiful day, it's just like, oh, it's so amazing. Or that first snowflakes falling down, or just that wonder of a child. Always hold that in your heart. It makes life a lot funner, a lot more entertaining. Interesting, a lot of information. People think they're imagining things, and you'll oftentimes see it come out in movies. You'll see references, once you start being able to tap in, you'll see things in movies or artwork, and you go, wow, that's actually pretty close to real. In Star Wars, they talked about the midi-chlorian count, and the Force is strong with them. Well, in real life, that can actually refer to the molecule that we produce in our brain, which is called dimethyltryptamine, DMT. It took a long time. I got the information that I needed to look into it. And I started asking psychics, is the psychic ability, this was before I could really tap in and understand the information I was getting, is the psychic information based off of your natural DMT level? And they go, oh no. You see them kind of throw up, feel it. Oh, wait a second, yeah, it is. So a lot of them started getting that information. And that is theorized to be produced in your pineal gland, which is your physical third eye, which is actually anatomically very similar to an eyeball. It actually helps regulate a lot of our brain chemistry. Fluoride and other chemicals can kind of calcify it and interrupt our sleep patterns, interrupt our ability to connect. So getting off of fluoride helps, well, fluoride is proven, even medically science, proven to lower IQ, proven to numb you out, even slow down your thyroid. It was first used in gulags and prison camps during World War II by the Nazis and Russians to turn the prisoners into sheeple. They found it made them more docile, easier to control. And it really doesn't. Too much fluoride actually rots your teeth. It's called fluoridosis. So you go, wait a second, they're telling me that I'm supposed to consume all this fluoride because it's good for my teeth, but it actually, the end product of it, it rots my teeth. Wait a second, what's going on? But the DMT is theorized that it's produced in the pineal gland. Now, very interesting, the shamans of South America, the shamans of Mexico, the Mayans, the Toltecs, the Aztecs, they used plants that contained DMT. Sacred mushrooms, the psilocybin cubensis mushrooms, grasses, frogs, so many plants, trees, all contain DMT. And in South America, it's really amazing, they found a tea, to make a tea called ayahuasca. They would take the chacruna plant. It's actually in the family of coffee, but they take the leaves, which contain DMT. If you brew it into a tea itself, it does absolutely nothing. The enzymes in your stomach break it down. And science, even to this day, doesn't really understand how they figured out this, because they don't grow next to each other, these plants. They asked them, how did you figure out? They said, the plants told us. And nature, if you listen, again, that's tapping into your intuition. But when you combine the ayahuasca vine, which is an MAO inhibitor, with the chacruna plant, which contains DMT, it now becomes orally active DMT. So instead of through meditation, yogis, monks, especially in the East that meditate all their life, they can get to the same places that the shamans could get to with these plants. Naturally, you're actually through meditation, through yoga, through other eating healthy, through a healthy lifestyle, you can start to elevate your natural DMT levels, increasing your psychic abilities. But the shamans of South America figured out how to basically flood your system with that. And that opens up your brain's chemistry and opens you up to receiving higher dimensional information. It's even possible to leave your body through that. And they knew that. They used them. For thousands of years, the sacred mushrooms have been used by the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, the Mazatec natives in Mexico and the Sierra Madre Mountains. In South America, ayahuasca, peyote, San Pedro. Most of the shamanic plants contain some form of DMT. It's pretty amazing that they knew how to do that. And it's really amazing how many plants in the world produce it, how many animals produce it. We produce it naturally in our brain. Along with being healthy, it's trying to avoid the poisons, avoid exposure to these toxic substances, electromagnetic radiation, cell phones, cell towers, even limit your exposure to Wi-Fi and things like that. That actually impacts your energy field negatively. Granted, it's the modern society. We need technology to communicate. It's a gift. It's just, you have to be careful with it. You have to protect yourself. But artificial sweeteners, fluoride, aspartame, a lot of things. Basically, if you don't understand the chemical compound in your food, don't eat that food. That can, yeah, eventually when you start getting to the point where you clean this garbage out, clean that garbage out, you'll be able to see if you eat something and it negatively affects you. To go along with that, I have celiac disease. I was in a constant state of sickness. I didn't realize the gluten was making me sick until I finally figured out that. I cut it out of my diet. Then all of a sudden this soy. Soy is good for no one. It raises estrogen levels. It can cause breast cancers, other cancers, throw off your whole hormonal system. For men, it raises estrogen levels, lowers testosterone, causes fatting. It's really bad. But they push it down our throat in every way possible. That's actually one of the hardest things about eating for me, because the gluten affected me. When I figured out that, I cleared it out of my system, then all of a sudden I realized I was getting hit, and I'd look at my diet. What is making me sick? I'd get hit by soy. It has a very similar reaction to me as the gluten. But they put it in everything. Soybean oil, soy lecithin, chocolate. It's very hard to find a chocolate. By the way, chocolate is wonderful. As little sugar as possible, but the theobromide, the other stimulants in it, can help give you energy. Magnesium in the chocolate can help you. There's so many wonderful healing properties. There's a reason that it has been referred to as the food of the gods. Wonderful thing. But as you start to get more and more healthy, yes, you do start to see when things affect you. Then you might find the next thing and the next thing, like peeling an onion. There's so many layers. Once you clear that off, there's more. Once you clear that off, there's more. Once you start getting healthier, you're not in a constant state of sickness. You can feel when things are negatively impacting you. Along with eating healthy. Now, I'm not advocating drug use. A lot of people associate sacred plants, or they call them drugs. You know, say, oh, drugs and alcohol are bad. Well, yes, drugs and alcohol are bad. Sacred plants should never be abused that way. You've heard of people that have had bad trips. Well, they're seeing higher dimensionally. So if you don't set the intention in a sacred environment with a shaman or someone watching you, holding that sacred space, the angels asking the angels to guard you, to protect you, to guide you, to take you and show you the things you're supposed to be seeing. Well, if you just go, hey, I'm at a party, I'm going to have fun and see whatever I see, well, you will see whatever you see. it could get very scary. There is low vibrational, high dimensional things that you could see, basically demons. So if you're having a bad trip, you could be seeing bad things. So they should never be used recreationally. Now, cannabis, it has so many healing properties to it. Is it right for everyone? No. Some people use it recreationally. Is it probably better than alcohol? Yes. Alcohol actually numbs you and shuts down your connection. It lowers your vibration. Sacred plants teach you. They work with you. They expand your mind. You know, have you ever seen one of those Dare commercials, you know, like those advertisements? This is your brain on drugs. Well, I wish they would have taken a brain activity scan and go, okay, this is your brain on sacred plants. It actually creates new neural connections. It actually it activates new parts of the brain, changes the way your brain works. It can break you out of depression. Sacred mushrooms, well, really any DMT containing plant, excellent at getting rid of depression, excellent at getting rid of anxiety, proven to be extremely successful at breaking addiction. There's a shamanic plant, African shamanic plant, a sacred plant called iboga. Now, this is not a DMT containing plant. It contains another active ingredient called ibogaine. It's legal in Mexico. They have clinics set up in Mexico. Here, it would lose too much money. It breaks drug addiction as soon as it starts kicking in. Withdrawal symptoms, gone. As soon as it kicks in, about 40, 45 minutes, most of the time, physical withdrawal symptoms are gone. Most of the time, one iboga experience, or ibogaine, they extract it and they just take the ibogaine. It's a different alkaloid profile, a slightly different experience, but it still does about the same thing. And it does have the physical effects of kicking the withdrawal symptoms instantly. As soon as it starts kicking in, withdrawal's gone. No detox, no delirium tremors, no horrible experience. It's gone. Now, would I wish iboga on most anyone? No. Iboga is a very, very serious ordeal. You either have to have very high spiritual experience or be in a really seriously bad place. Methamphetamine, crack cocaine, opiate addiction, really any of that. There's the Chipsa Hospital. They do this. They have a 95% success rate in breaking addiction. And not just treating it, it's not rehab, it actually breaks the addiction. Now, there's the physical, the chemical aspect of it, but there's also a spiritual aspect of it. And this is the part that you really have to need it or be ready for it. DMT opens you to the higher dimensions. Iboga sends you in. And you have a talk with yourself. Or I should say, yourself has a talk with you. And it's not necessarily the nicest talk. It shows you how you ended up. Well, it shows you what you need to see. But that spiritual experience is a huge part of breaking the addiction. And so call it a hallucination. Call it yourself talking to you. Call it whatever you want. But it has a 95% success rate of working in Tijuana. And, well, they do it in a lot of other places. But we need to work to legalize these medicines. They do not have a right to be banned. They work. They have thousands upon thousands of years of religious tradition behind them. We have freedom of religion. They are legal by that very definition in the Constitution of the United States of America. Now, there's a change. What I'm here to do is bring forth a new message, start a new priesthood. It's different. We're breaking out of the dogma. It's not about the ceremony anymore. The ceremony arose to create connection. It was kind of a way to get in touch and tap in. But eventually the ceremony became about the ceremony, and the ceremony became about control, and the whole idea of why the ceremony existed or was created was lost. The ceremony was to connect. So if you use the ceremony, if you use a traditional way of meditation, if you use a traditional shamanic practice, if you use whatever practice you use to connect, whether it's Vedic, whether it's ancient Hebrew, whether it's whatever ceremony you use to connect, as it's important that you're connecting to the right place. So yes?
Plants and herbs also go back way BC when they worshipped in the temple. God would send a message for them to go gather the plants and the herbs and bring in for sacrificial sacrifices and worship, and it was all protected and was sacred.
Are
to God.
you talking about shamanic plants or the sacred plants?
The sacred
or
plants.
Okay, yeah.
He gave the message for them to go out and find the purest plant to bring into the temple
Yeah.
for worship.
Even the Oracle of Delphi. Now there's a few theories of that. There's fissures in there, and I believe it. One of the things said it was probably ethylene gas, but they also burned laurel leaf, bay laurel leaf, or bay leaf that's used in cooking. Now that has a similar, or I think the same active ingredient as eucalyptus, which can be toxic in, especially to the reproductive system. That's why the Oracle of Delphi, which was not just one, Pytha, was more of a title, not a name. There was not just one Oracle of Delphi, it was a priesthood. And they were chosen, but they were actually theorized to be infertile because of the exposure to the laurel leaf. And they actually had to work with certain cycles of the earth because the gas is coming up through the fissure. But yes, even there, the Aleutian mysteries, they theorized to be, I believe, the phalaris grass, if I can. But yes, all throughout the world, sacred plants were used. In Africa, iboga. The Siberian shamans, the Amanita muscaria mushroom. Now that is what I refer to as the magic mushroom. That is the classic red mushroom with white dots. It can create the traditional Alice in Wonderland experience. So that's, I delineate between the two. One of the active ingredients is muscimol. It is not a DMT containing plant. So the experience between a sacred mushroom and a magic mushroom is completely different. Both have a different purpose, different. And that is actually the origin of a lot of the Christmas story, actually, the Christmas traditions. Flying reindeer. The reindeer would eat these mushrooms and they'd be in an ecstatic state, running around, and that's where flying reindeer came. Colorful presents underneath the Christmas tree. They grow underneath pine trees or a few other trees, but as almost a parasitic or symbiotic existence with the plant. So they need the plant to grow, so they always grow underneath the tree. So they would pick them and they'd get presents underneath the tree. So very interesting. But yes, that is the original religious experience typically involved sacred plants. Or incense, in fact. Not always did they have to consume it, but the laurel leaves were burned. So incense can change that. So whether it's, some are more powerful than others, but frankincense, myrrh, benzoin of Sumatra, Palo Santo of the New World, Copal of the New World, each has different properties, each has a different energy and does different things. That's why so many religions burn some form of incense, whether it's resin, whether it's wood, sandalwood, cedar wood. Each has its own energy. The new priesthood. So it's no longer about dogma. It's no longer about the ceremony. It is about the connection. And this time we can connect without the ceremony. Everybody needs their own medicine. Now, if you had someone go to the doctor and they prescribed the same antibiotic to everyone, is it going to help everyone? If they have something that doesn't need that, it's not going to work for them. So everyone needs their own medicine. Whether it is an ancient religious tradition, a new religious tradition, reading their favorite sacred book, whatever way they connect, if they need that to connect. But I'm.
Word.
What's that?
The written word.
The written word, yes.
In the manifest.
I'm here to tell you that you can listen, you can connect. You don't need anything. You don't need the ceremony anymore. And now, it's new, it's different. No longer is it about traditions. No longer it's about connecting. It's about becoming part of the heavenly host. It's working like the angels do down here. It's no longer about worshiping some God that they don't understand. It's about joining the heavenly host, joining the higher dimensions, and working to heal and live a loving life down here. So you're doing your part to help the heavenly host. You're working with the heavenly host, and you are becoming part of the heavenly host. That is what it is about now. It's not about going and worshiping, bowing before idols anymore. You're not, kneeling down in front of a statue. You don't need some representation anymore. If you do, that's fine. That is what you need. That is the medicine you need. If you need to see something to be able to focus, have a focal point for that. But it's not necessary anymore. They're here. They're all around us. All we have to do is open up to them. We are experiencing growing pains right now. There's a lot going on in the world, and it seems really bad, but it's growing pains. Lower vibrational beings are fighting their hardest to maintain a low vibration, but the vibration of everything is coming up and lifting everybody up with it. So the higher the vibration, the collective vibration, the more physical power down here is able, the more miracles that are more visible here. But there's a change. Instead of creation through contrast, as we learn, as we experience new things, as we create new things, Source grows, God learns. Infinity is getting bigger all the time. Now, the original model wasn't wanted by everyone, but the original model was creation through contrast. They thought it would expand Source better. So there's good, there's bad. If you experience the bad, you know you don't want the bad, and you choose the good, and then that creates an experience, and then that grows. You learn from that experience. But no longer is that the case. We are shifting into the model of creation through creativity. Pain is not needed anymore for creation. We can create by imagining, creating artwork. Just as an artist creates artwork, we can help create, we can expand new scientific exploits, new whatever field you're in, whatever experience you have. If you create through love, that's what we can do. We no longer need this contrast. We no longer need the suffering. We no longer need the pain. Some beings feel that we need it, and we're trying to change that right now. The higher we come up, the less hold the third level of consciousness has. The third level of consciousness is fear, anger, hate, pain, control, jealousy. As we come up higher and higher in our consciousness level, we move into the fourth. We start living from a place of love. If you measure your actions through love, that's the important part. Sin is a man-made concept. If you don't go to church on Sunday, you are a sinner and damned in the eyes of an angry God. That's not the case. If you need to, go. If that's where you connect, that's what you need to do to connect, do it. But the important thing is measuring the intention, the vibration of the intention of the action. Okay, that sounds a little bit complicated, but I'll simplify it. It's measuring your actions through love. Are they a loving and respectful action to all parties involved? And that's really the important thing. It's not about being measured through a third dimensional concept. You know, like, oh, you did this, you're a sinner. It's, was it done in a loving manner? Yes. That's all that's important. You need to be respectful to all parties involved. It's about loving. 10 commandments were given, and it was about treating each other in a loving way. Then came back with 2. Love God, love each other. I'll simplify it to 1. 1 rule you need to follow. 1 way to live your life. Love. That sums it all up into one thing. Just love. If you treat everyone with love, if you don't screw your neighbor to get ahead just a little bit further, if you go, wait, that's not a loving action. You know what? I'm going to do the right thing, follow loving action. That's what you need to do. You need to measure your actions through love. So I talked about demons. This goes along with it. We're tipping the balance. There used to be, because the creation model was creation through contrast, there was a balance being maintained. If good got something, evil had to get something. So there's this balance. But now, some of the evilest beings around, some of the lowest vibrational beings around, things that were called the devil is nothing more than a man-made boogeyman. There is a lot of really low vibrational beings that kind of all got lumped into one and made it easier, the devil. Well, there's a lot of nasty beings out there, and there's a lot of different ones. But one by one, these beings are getting transmuted through love. They're being given love and energy. They're being transmuted into light, raising their vibrations, being sent back up to source, back up to God, to be recycled. So now they are no longer plaguing us here. Anytime I do an exorcism, I used to hate these demons. I'm like, oh, I'm going to try and kill them and hurt them and get them to leave this person they're attacking alone. Then I realized, when you start coming up, you realize it's just vibration. Their vibration is down here. Angels are up here. Source is up there. Then you have the normal human range. But it's like a sickness. They're sick and they don't know they're sick. They don't know they're low vibrational. So you need to give them energy, give them love, give them light, transmute their dark energy, send them back up to source, have him take care of it. And it's not about hurting them, killing them. It's about healing them. So you get a 2-for-1. You no longer have them causing problems down here, and they're being sent back up to get another chance at life. They're being sent back up to create another high vibrational being, another light being. So they're no longer the dark. You're transmuting that dark energy into the light. So you get 2-for-1. You no longer have a dark being, and you have a light being. Back to vibration. So like I said, demons are down here, angels are up there, source is up there, but you have, actually source is everywhere. Everything is source. But the highest levels of creation, the highest are up there, and that's really the source, part of source, the stream of source's consciousness you need to focus on. But you have the normal human range in here. Everything from a drug addict with low vibrational habits, you know, addiction, hate, anger, they hold that vibration. That's low vibration. Anger, hate, resentment, those are low vibrational energies they're holding on to. All the way up to a monk living in a monastery. Beautiful music, beautiful environment, beautiful temple they spend their time in, meditating, music, incense, all high vibrational things. So once once you understand that, that's low vibration, that's high vibration. When you start walking around, you start seeing this, eventually you'll be able to feel it. And
would you maybe tell us about some of your tools and how you use them to change the vibrations?
okay, we can do that. Okay, we'll go on break. I'll take a couple questions now, we'll go on break, and then we'll come back and dive into it. And I guess you guys want to hear about the toys. So we'll go into the toys next. Okay, any questions for anybody?
Yes, that's interesting that you asked that, because I was thinking, I wondered if you do any energy work with homes like feng shui. Do you?
Good question. It really makes a difference. Now, do you have to get a feng shui book, study 20 years, and understand every intricacy of it? No. What feels good? That's really the energetic aspect, and what feels good is good for the spirit, which is our energy aspect. So we're doing it for our spirit, and also it can clear, the less clutter, the less mental clutter. So some of the most important things, yes, they have this element in this corner of the house, that element in that corner of the house, this part of it. You know, even the shaman altars of South America. You have the, well, that's another, we'll come back around that. But staying with the feng shui, there's very specific things you can do to bring in specific energy, specific powers. But some of the most important things are cleanliness, non-clutteredness, nice smelling. Is it sanitary? Is it not smelly? Does it have a pleasant aroma? Is it, for the most part, neat? It's not over full of stuff. So the energy flows in a very nice way and interacts with us. So if you've ever walked in somewhere and it goes, oh, this place is so beautiful, it just feels good. Well, it's because the energy is flowing. If you walked into a place and there's just all this clutter and all these conflicting energies, you walk in and you go, oh, I can't be in here a minute longer. That's what feng shui is. That's what feng shui does. Did I answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?